Second conditional. The second conditional is used to imagine present or future situations that are impossible or unlikely in reality. This is situations that, due to the circumstances in the present, are not likely or almost impossible to become true in the future. The structure of a second conditional sentence is simple. It is conformed by two clauses, the condition and the result. The condition in a second conditional sentence must be stated in the past simple. Look at our example. The condition is if I had $1 million. If I had, the verb had, it's been used in its past form, had. If I had $1 million, that is an unreal condition for me because in the present I don't have $1 million. The result, since it is an imaginary situation, we will be using the modal auxiliary verb would. Would plus the infinitive form of the verb. Look at our example. I would buy a sports car. If I had $1 million, I would buy a sports car. But I don't have $1 million in the present, so it is impossible for me right now to buy a sports car. This is why we're using the second conditional, because this is an imaginary situation of something that cannot become possible as of now. Let's look at some more examples. If you notice, the first two examples, we added the conditional sentence first. If I lived in a big city, I would need a car. If I didn't live in a big city, I wouldn't need a car. As you can see, we can also use negative forms and also interrogative forms in a second conditional sentence. But we just have to follow the rules in the condition for the past simple, lived, didn't live to negative sentences, and we use the auxiliary modal verb would for the result. In the last two examples, you can see that we begin with the result clause first. I would go out more often if I had a car. I wouldn't go out if I worked early in the morning. Look at the last sentence. We started with the result. I wouldn't go out. And then we continued with the condition in the past simple. If I worked early in the morning. An exception in the second conditional is the use of the verb to be. You know that the verb to be has two different forms in the past simple, was and were. When we use the verb to be in the second conditional, the past form is always were, even for the third person subjects, such as he, she, and it. Look at the examples. If I were you, I would buy a car soon. If she were rich, she would help me. If he were my boss, I would look for another job. Notice this. In the first sentence, we use the subject I. In the second and third sentence, we use the subjects she and he. We know that the correct form of the verb to be for those subjects is was. But this is an exception. When we are using the verb to be in conditional sentences, we're going to be using were for all of the subjects. Now, remember, we use the second conditional to express unreal situations, results that are not likely to become true due to the present conditions, unlike the first conditional, which is used to talk about possible results in the future. Now, go to the next video to continue learning.